Hey everybody out there, Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy. I'm down at Foundry today. Hopefully I'm going to get something poured. First came in today, we got an issue with water in this building. The roof leaks a lot. So I have some water on the floor in here. It's dangerous to pour. If I get any metal that goes over the water, that can cause steam and it'll explode. Okay, you can have molten metal down on the ground, pour water on top of that, that'll be fine. But when there's already water on the ground and you put molten metal on the top, that's when you got issues. Okay, so I'm gonna see what I can do. I was trying to heat some sand up a little bit before. The water issues getting worse and worse. I'm gonna try to make a mold. I don't know if you guys can remember. We made this flask a couple weeks ago. It was going to go to this job right here. These are some machine nuts for one of my customers for Warner and Swade. So I'm going to try to ram this up. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I don't know if the sand's warm enough. Okay, so when I get going to ram this up here, like I always say, we got the drag is on the bottom, coat's up on the top, okay? I know this is a coat, like I said in the one video, because these are risers right here. Alright, so to get started, on this match plate, another thing that I haven't explained yet is, I explained the pins and the pin heights and that, okay? So, in order to locate these pins on this pattern, and the reason that we want to locate it is the top half and the bottom half, coat and drag, okay, because there's two halves on here, okay? See the two halves? Those two halves, when you put the molds together, they got to locate, you know, so they got to go perfect, you know, they can't be like that, otherwise the casting is not going to be any good. Okay, so on mine, on all the flats I make, I'm making 5/8 pins on every single job that I have, okay? So I just take some 1¼ inch wide by 3/16 inch thick, just steel, just hot roll steel. You get a whole 24-foot length for like $12 or something like that. Cut them in like 5-inch lengths. So I drill a 5/8 hole into one, okay? And in the other, we put a little slot. This is for, it's going to give me a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, so side to side, that should be perfect. Laterally wise, you know, there's going to be a little bit of room for a little bit of maneuvering. But if I would just put 5/8 hole, 5/8 hole, you know, we'd never get things in and out. You know, especially with these wooden flats, like I said, they're real nice flats. They're easy to make, show you how to make them. Especially being in here, they get moist, the wood moves. Right before I started the video here, I actually had to take a piece of sandpaper and sand the pins up a little bit to make it, you know, a little bit more free, okay? So basically what I'm going to do is you put the patterns together, you put the flats on it. Okay, now here's the other thing I was saying too, alright? The two halves have to go together exactly how I rammed them up, okay? So in most of the foundries I have different size pins or whatever. I just got these marked here, this corner, so I'm going to make sure, you know, when I take the mold apart to take the pattern out, that when I put the two mold halves back together, I'm going to end up with these two marks on the same side, okay? So, like I said, you start out, you put the drag half down, you put the drag coat, or excuse me, the drag flask goes down, you put your pattern on top, okay? Then, you put your coat half on. Alright, then, let me move this one out of the way here. Then what you do is you flip it, okay? So you always ram up the drag half first. The reason you do the drag half first, I'll ram this up, and then we got a board, what's called a bottom board, we'll stick on this. Then we flip it, okay, ram the coat half up. Then when we're done ramming the coat half up, we'll take the coat flask off and take the pattern out, okay? So if I was to do the coat first and then the drag second, I'd have to flip it twice instead of just flipping it once. This way, if I do the drag, I flip it and I'm done, okay? So I'm gonna get started with this. Got a little baggie full of parting compound, okay? So this is true parting compound. I get it from my Foundry supplier. You can use talcum powder. A lot of guys use talcum powder and that. Said sometimes you get some issues with some of the metals and that. That's why I just go ahead and get the regular parting compound. I want to get, there's another parting compound. This is just basically like talcum powder. I don't know what the exact composition is. They have oh come on, a carbon, or not a carbon-based one, like a silicon-based parting compound also. It's very expensive. I want to get some of that for like finer detail and things where you think you're going to have some issues. But this one's pretty straightforward. I got a lot of draft on the pattern. So, you know, we should be pretty good with being able to get the pattern in and out on this one. We'll see how, like I said, hopefully I heated the sand up good enough that if the sand's cold, it's not going to stick together. Alright, so we'll give her a go, see what we can do, and you know, since I'm up here, it takes me like 45 minutes to get here from my house, so while I'm here, I might as well try to do something. If I can't get something going, we'll come up here. My next window of opportunity up here would be in 2 days, so let's see what we can do here, okay? So I'll sprinkle some of this parting compound on. Okay, some guys actually will go ahead and take an air nozzle, blow that around a little bit. I just, you know, leave it as is. Okay, you don't have to put too much on this, especially this job. It's when you first do mold off a pattern, a lot of times you have to make 2 or 3 molds on it to get what's called wear in on the pattern before you get a good mold, okay? It's just, you'll find some sticky spots on it or whatever, maybe some paint drip on it, you can take a little sandpaper to it or whatever. But, you know, for the most part, this pattern, we've made molds on before. I haven't made any molds on this one. Another Foundry did. I'm kind of trusting their gating. You know, we'll see how that goes. You know, they might not come out, but, you know, we'll, instead of me spending a lot of time changing the gating, we'll just go ahead and see what we got going here. So, I always use gloves. It's not necessary to. I just, you know, it's after a while it'll start getting, you know, your hands will start getting dirty and stay dirty. So this is my warm sand here. We take riddle, okay? Some people call it a sieve, and the Foundry we call it a riddle. All right. So the first bit of sand that you use, you really want some nice fine sand on here. Okay. So I'm gonna just take a couple scoops of this sand, and I'm using that Petrobond sand that I was telling you about. And this is another reason to do rollable sand. You want to get it nice and you want to get some fine sand in there, but you know it's getting little chunks of metal in that in there too. So I got a place to put this. Hang on. All right, so tell you what, I'll bring you over here real quick. So here's what that looks like. Okay, and then what I'll do is I know where the pattern ends here, so I'm just gonna push it down with my fingers around the gating a little bit. All right, and then get it started there, and then you just start filling it up with the regular sand. Okay, now yeah, I probably could use a bigger shovel in that. Okay, so there's a bunch of different ways to basically tamp the sand down, okay? here's a little ham ram that I got. See, it's got a little pointed end. Get into the corners. This is just, you know, for general. A lot of times, this is pretty wide space, pretty big. A lot of times, what I do is on my molding bench here, I just got 4 of these pieces of wood that straddle the bench. What the flask is resting on right here, right now. A lot of times I'll just take this, you know, just jam it around here. But like I said, like, you know, for smaller things, you know, sometimes I'll take, you know, you can use anything. I've got, basically got these things. You gotta, with these, unfortunately, you gotta use a little more strength on it. But this, you know, it's kind of weighty a little bit. So we got a lot of room in this flask, so I can use this one. Alright, so I got a layer down, and I'm seeing already that this sand's really not sticking together too good, so we might have a short day here. We'll see how it goes. A little bit more. I'll try a little bit more here. So let's take this in here. What I'm going to try and do, like I was just showing you those kind of like little bushings, the 5/8 plates that I make. Those actually, like I said, most foundries, they just use like bushings, hardened steel bushings. The pins are usually harder in that too. And you know, for what I'm doing here, this is working out great. Just the pieces of 3/16 inch thick metal. As I'm doing this stuff, it's kind of hard for me. I'm just doing this like, I'm just speaking as I'm going here, so I'll forget things, or a lot of times I don't give the full information, but hopefully we got a long way to do these things, okay? In making the flask the other day, I was saying how to drill some holes with the Forstner bit. If you don't have a Forstner bit, you can always take a like 1/2 inch round bit in your router and just router, you know, maybe 1/4 inch deep little lines, you know, and you can do that. That's actually how the aluminum ones that I'm making, that's actually how we're doing those. You know, I just put the board, actually, I'll show you a pattern for one of those. I don't think I have one here right now. I just put up on the milling machine and mill a couple grooves in there, alright? So, I mean, there's different ways we can do. And then one of the things I said too, it was, you know, it doesn't matter how deep you go in. It kind of does. I mean, obviously you don't want to go all the way through 3/4 of an inch. You know, if you go 1/2 inch in, you can, you know, but then you got a ton of sand, and it's going to stick in there, and you got to dig the sand out. So generally what I try to do is go anywhere from like an 1/8 of an inch, no more than 1/4 of an inch. I'll let that drill go in there, okay? And like I said, if you don't have Forstner bits or drill press in it, you know, go and set you up a router with like a, you know, 1/2 inch round over, and just put a couple grooves in there. You'll be good. But basically what you want to do is, when I lift this off of here, you know, I want the sand to stay in there. If there was nothing to hold the sand into this flask, I'll pick this up and the sand will just stay there. Because this probably right here, we'll probably have a good 50 pounds of sand in there. So, in just this half, you know, you're probably looking, probably going to be 70 pounds of sand in this half too. So, you know, that's the other thing here too. I mean, this stuff kind of takes a little, you know, you got to have a little bit of strength here too. You know, this is fairly big for in here, but you know, I mean, it's done a lot bigger also. So, another thing about the, you know, I'll keep on telling you some more information. When I said the ears have to be 1/4 inch up, off of the parting of the manch plate itself. Well, a couple reasons. I got to get my fingers under here to pick this flask up, okay? And then the other is I got that 3/16 inch plate on there too, so I gotta, you know, I gotta be up off of that too, right? So, you know, you want to smack this down fairly good. You know, I've seen guys, you can over, this is called ramming, okay, what I'm doing right now. You can over ram. All right, so this is my drag half. We're gonna flip this over. Okay, I'm not all the way there yet. I don't want to flip it over right now because there's like some indentations here and it'll fall. So I got enough good sand in there. A lot of times what you do is just grab some of the older non-sieve sand. This might be cold though. We'll see. And ram it up. Now a lot of times what I do is like the last, I just get a little bit of that, the leverage of this big handle. And then, you know, it's the leverage of the big handle plus makes it kind of vibrate a little bit doing this too. Okay, now, one of the things, alright, a lot of guys use different things to strike this off the top, okay? I could use this, it's kind of short. That's pretty good, really. I got this piece of angle. Okay, so it's a nice steel angle. So we got to make this flat here because I got to put a board on here, right? I'm going to flip it, okay? So I see a lot of guys, like the backyard guys. I mean, it's important to get, especially the drag half, like I said, you flip it, you got a big enough hole underneath there, it could stick, you know? But I mean, it's not that big of a deal, you know? It's good enough right there. Okay, we get a board, and I'll flip it hang tight. Okay, I got a bottom board. It's a bottom board. This one's not for this flask, all right? But usually I'll put a couple little strips under so I can get my fingers under here, okay? This is good enough. I mean, it's supporting, it's under the both ends and it's supporting everything. Okay, all right, so basically you want to try to, I'm not going to lift this and flip it, okay? So what you do is, you bring it out to the end of your bench, okay? And then hold on to your bottom board, okay? And then you just roll it. Okay, you keep that bottom board on there. See, I got my arm here, I got it on the bottom board, right? And then you just use your body, and then you finish flipping it, okay? So, there you go. Now we're ready to ram up the coat half to this. Okay, so I'm going to get my parting dust and put some parting dust on here. What we're going to have to do too on this one is, like I said in the gating, I don't know if you can all remember all the gating in the end, okay? So you can see these three risers popping up here. That's where the metal will come up, okay, and then when the castings are shrinking, that'll continue to feed the casting so they don't shrink too fast and too much. Hopefully, we'll see. It's not my gating, so we'll see. So the main part of the gating is what's called the sprue, okay, so they don't have a sprue sticking up like the riser, okay, so I got a couple tools here. This actually, instead of buying a tool, I had to take an old house lamp, you know, the lights going into the house, and this was just sticking out. It was like a brass tube. So I use this to cut sprues. I don't think this is, it's not quite deep enough. I want something a little bigger, all right? So this one I bought from a company, I can't remember which one. Okay, it's a nice little stainless steel tube. Alright, so a lot of times what guys will do, when you have molding machines, they'll have a board on the top, it's called a squeezer board, and they'll have like an indentation on the board where the sprue goes down, because there's actually a mark on the bottom, on the board itself, on the manch plate. where the sprue bowl is on the other side. The sprue bowl's on the other side right now, down in the drag here, okay? So I really don't know where it is. So they've got like a little piece of aluminum up on top that's telling me where the sprue bowl is. So if I was doing this on a machine, a molding machine, I'd have, you know, fill this full of sand, and then we'd put a board on top of it, and that board would have a little indentation or a little nipple on it, right, which would make an indentation in the sand mold, and then these guys would just, you know, plunge this down where that is. All right, I don't have that. I don't have a board to go on top, so what I'll do is I'm going to sieve some sand in here with the riddle, and then I'm just going to put my sprue cutter in there and then ram the mold up with my sprue cutter and then take my sprue cutter out. Okay, so you can do it. It's not, you know, it really doesn't matter how you do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not, we're not making a rocket engine here. Okay, so, you know, especially we don't have a molding machine here, so we got to figure out different ways to do things. And then, okay, so you just, probably some Marines out there will beat me. I'm not a Marine, never was. But, you know, I love their saying, improvise, overcome, and adapt, okay? Especially being a backyard guy or, you know, somebody just starting out, you know, you can't afford to go out and buy a molding machine and, you know, get going like that, so you got to do everything by hand. So, you know, you just got to adapt to things, okay? Do things different ways. So, I gotta mix up some more sand, so I'm gonna shut the camera off for a little bit, mix some more sand, we'll ram up the coat half. I see a ton more water coming in here. We might just let this mold sit till Thursday. You know, I don't like to because it's gonna get cold in that, and then, you know, we're pouring some molten metal into a cold mold. It's not the best thing, but the castings are big enough where it might need, you know, it might not be that big of a deal. So, I mean, I've done it before. It's not the best thing, but I'm gonna go melt or go mix some more sand over here in a muller. Start molding this up, like I said, and then we'll start ramming this up, okay? And then we'll make a determination if we're gonna light the furnace up and pour some bronze in a little bit here. But like I said, if not, come down here in another 2 days, and weather's looking pretty good the next couple days. You know, most of this stuff was just snow that was up on the roof that's melting. So hopefully, you know, we'll be pouring in a little bit, but we'll be right back. Okay guys, I got some sand mixed up again. Got to turn the camera on real quick. I'm not used to doing this. Usually I have a camera guy helping me, but he's working right now. So started sieving some sand in here. Okay, so like I said, I don't have a mark that I'm going to have where I can put the sprue cutter in later. So I got to put this in here right away. So I got some good sand in here, and again, what I'm going to do, instead of picking a camera up again, you saw me the last time, I'm going to do some tucking with my fingers here, okay, try to make sure that some of this goes into some of the tight spots. We got a couple tight spots on this one here. Want to make sure it gets in there, okay. And then what I'm going to do is, like I said, we got to get around these risers here. So, like I was saying, on the other half, on the coat or drag half over there, I was able to use that bigger hand ram, okay? So I'm not going to be able to do that with this one because it's like, you know, tighter again. So there you go. So I'm going to try to finish ramming this thing up. And like I said, it's going to take me about another 10 minutes. There's a lot of water coming in here, so I might do this. I'm not sure. I'll let you know. If not, we'll, like I said, we'll come up here in 2 days, and you know, we should be good then. I can hear, you can hear there's a waterfall right outside my door here, and it's slowed down quite a bit. So hopefully that's it. And if I get the furnace started up, we'll start the camera back up and show you how we charge everything, get everything going over there, and then hopefully we'll pour this mold. Alrighty? Alright, so right now I got my sprue cutter sticking out of the top of the mold, okay? So these tools up here, some guys call them slicks. That's basically what you know, most people, some people just call them spoons. But what I do is, before I take my sprue cutter out, like I was saying, you know, if we were doing this on a molding machine, you know, we'd put a squeezer board on the top of this, okay? And that marker to make this, to put your sprue cutter down in there, it's usually dished out. The reason they do that, it gives you a little bit of a larger target for when you're pouring your metal, okay? So since we don't have that board, we don't have that, I'll just take a slick, all right, and then we'll just remove some of the sand around here, and then we'll make a, you know, make a little bit of a bowl here. Okay, you know, this doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, like I said, all you're doing this for is, you know, make a little bit bigger of a target for when you pour the metal. Okay, so I'll take this out, take my sprue cutter out, okay? Now, a lot of people are going to be afraid, oh, sand's going to go down in. No, we're going to take this apart, okay? So, you know, I'll finish cutting this out a little bit. You know, you got to get all the loose sand out. That's the most important thing, okay? Make sure all the loose sand, make sure a lot of times, like when you're molding things, you know, you can see something's cracked and something's about ready to fall off. So just make sure that, you know, there's nothing loose, because if you know, if there's some loose sand in here, what's going to happen is when you pour the molten metal in there, it's just going to pick that loose sand up, and it's going to, you know, maybe be get a chunk of sand in your casting, and your casting's going to be garbage. All right, so moment of truth. Probably should do this off camera just in case it's messed up, but like I said, I'm not expecting this one to come out because it's you know, it's pretty tall. I got to get it off by hand. The sand's just not really all there just yet. So we'll give it a try and move this back, because what's going to happen is I'm going to take this cope off here, and then we're just going to flop it back here on the table, okay? Like I said, you know, you want to try to lift this stuff as little as you can, because there's got to be good 60 pounds, 60, 70 pounds of sand in this thing easy, okay? I don't know if you can see on the top, you see I was saying how we cut the cope part pieces when I was building this flask to come out. So the reason, like I said, why I do that, that's venting, okay? Like I said, some guys will go a little bit higher and they'll have sand over the top of these. It's a little thermodynamic thing where it'll keep the risers actually hotter in it. One of the things that I'm not really knowledgeable about yet, you know, I'm a pattern maker. I know a lot of Foundry stuff, and I've worked in foundries all my life, but you know, I still have to do a lot on metallurgy. I mean, metallurgy is a whole other beast. What happens is, usually when I come down here to cast things, I'll let the casting solidify. You know, aluminum, they solidify pretty quick. Pretty much almost anything we pour here in aluminum, within 10-15 minutes you can demold them. Okay, bronze, like these will probably have to sit in here 15 minutes, probably half an hour. I'll just let them sit in there for half an hour to make sure. Let me try to get this thing off, and hopefully I won't embarrass myself. It's gonna be a tough one. So actually, you know what I think I'm gonna do? I've got some wedges. I'm going to try to get it up, because that 1/4 inches, I got fat fingers. So I'm going to try to get some wedges under there, pull it up a little bit, and you know, we'll go from there. Okay. Okay. So I made these little wedges here. You know, it's kind of hard for me to get my fingers underneath here a lot of times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this going, and let's see how it works out here. Got to keep on going back and forth, both sides. Don't do one side all at one time, all right? is then it's going to come up crooked. So what we're trying to do is get this thing right up straight as we can go. Okay. These didn't go in as far as I thought they would, but nope, that's not going to be good enough. Let's try something else here. I don't know if you can see it, it's coming up a little bit, but got to kind of be a little patient with it. Definitely got to make sure you don't run into the pattern in here too, you know. You definitely don't want to damage your pattern. Alright, so I'm hitting something. I know it's not a pattern, but let's see if I can get my fingers under here good enough. A lot of times too, what I want to do, I want to stick my fingers underneath the ear and then put your palm of your hand up on top of the pin and help. And then, like I said, this thing's got to come up as straight as you can get it. Okay? Okay, oh, that was heavy. Alright, so I got the coat half off. You probably can't see it instead of grabbing you. Some sand did stick in. It's going to be okay. It's kind of where the gating is. I'll be able to cut that off later. So instead of taking the time and making a whole new mold again, this should be good enough. So if we get the drag half out good, we should be good to go. So on the molding machines, they also have what's called vibrators. Okay, so they put a vibrator, actually it's sticking right off of the, you drill a hole on the match plate. Okay, so for when you're taking the molds off, it vibrates a little bit, helps everything move. I don't have that, so improvise and adapt again. You know, just take a mallet, and get it going a little bit. Alright, and then see what we can do. So here again, I'm going to use my fingers up on top of these pins to try to get this thing going straight. Okay? Okay, beautiful. That looks good. This is broken a little bit here. Like I said, that's a little bit on the gating side there. The other thing with this particular pattern, the castings, keep on telling you, and you know, you want to do things as best as you can. However, this literally took me, I mean, I had the camera thing going in there, but this mold, doing it by hand for myself, it takes me a good 10 minutes, you know. So a lot of times, instead of, there's a little bit of damage here. All right, so instead of crapping this mold out and starting from scratch and doing another 10 minutes, this is for me, so this is where I'm walking out. I know every surface of this casting gets machined. There's like an 1/8 inch machining on there. So if there's a little damage to it, I'm okay with it because, like I said, there's a lot of machining on this. So I think, you know, this one looks good to go. Okay guys, decided to go ahead and pour this. Usually, I don't like to just pour one mold. This is fairly higher poundage in that. I do have another flask. I thought I didn't. I do have another flask that's down here, but like I said, with the moisture, I can't get it apart right now. I'm not going to putz around trying to get it apart. I'm not 100% sure with this gating either. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start the furnace up, and we'll pour this, and we'll see if the castings come out, and then I'll come up here again Thursday. I'll make another mold if it comes out. You know, if not, I'll do a gating change on it and get the gating right. But it's the way you should do it too. It would really be stupid to, like I said, somebody else gated this. It worked in their foundry. It's different. So this is the best way to do it. You know, just do one mold, make sure. It would be nice if I had a couple other molds. I gotta pour some other brass or bronze. I'm pouring bronze. It'd be nice if I had a couple other, but it's just so cold in here right now. You see my breath and that. The sand's not sticking together too well. So I'm just gonna do this one. Come down here, if it works out, come down next Thursday. I'll show you some more molding. We'll do another one of these. We'll heat the sand up real good, and then I'll get some smaller stuff to mold. It's kind of neat stuff. Okay guys, what I'm going to do next right here real quick, I'm going to degas. What I'm going to degas with just regular borax, okay? Got a piece of 1/2-inch steel rod, 1/4-inch T, a couple of 1/4-inch pieces. This is full of borax. It's going to go down, I'm going to plunge it in down the molten metal, right? Degas it, and then next we'll skim all the dross off the top, okay? Okay guys, we just got done pouring this mold. I swear to God, stuff doesn't happen, but now we're filming. A lot of things went wrong that shouldn't have gone wrong. When we pulled the crucible out of the furnace, you saw the bricks that got stuck to the crucible, okay? Normally I stick a sheet of cardboard in there. Forgot to do that. Just more in tune to get you guys info here. So I should have done that. That's why the bricks stuck to the bottom of the crucible. The other thing, you probably couldn't see it from that side, but we had a blowout here. So as we were pouring, we had molten metal flowing out the side. That's why we put clamps on here. So usually what that does is we're putting a lot of weight in here. The hydraulic pressure usually pushes the coat half up. So some foundries have weights they put on the top. Here I just clamp them. So if something happened, we got a little blowout somewhere, it's never happened. So we have a bunch of molten metal coming out there. You saw us put the crucible down, okay, and then pick it back up and re-pour a little bit. Usually you cannot do that, okay? That's called a cold pour, okay? So if you're pouring and you stop pouring, if it's within the casting in there, what'll happen is you'll get a layer of, it oxidizes on the top, and then you pour more metal on there. You know, that oxidation stays in your casting. It's a ruined casting, it's no good. We were able to do it because there was still molten metal in the risers, okay? So, you know, we'll see if it comes out. I'm sure it will. You can add more metal into the risers. They call that topping off. A lot of times guys will top them off. This was a little bit different. We did use a lot of metal, so we'll see how it comes up. But you know, right off the bat, when they pour it, especially with aluminum, it starts solidifying real quick. And the risers will start shrinking, so they'll just pour a little bit more metal on top of the risers, just, you know, keep it full a little bit. This was a little different circumstance, so I'm going to give us about 20 minutes in here, and then we'll demold this 20 minutes, half hour. We'll demold it and see what we come up with. All right. Okay, guys, it's been about 20 minutes. Let's see if we get a good casting. So basically, just got to dig for it. This is hot, so I got to make sure there's oil in here. And one of the things that it might catch on fire, so have a. We got the fan off so you can hear me too. Might catch on fire, so have a shovel ready to go just in case we, you know, got to plug this back on here. So we're looking for the sprue. You can take the flask apart and everything. Like I said, it's probably about 100 pounds of sand. There's probably about 150, 170 pounds here. So I'm just gonna dig the castings out. It's easier for me, then we'll just leave the sand there. In a couple days we'll come up and just end up you know, digging some of the sand out of here. Okay, so wow, that's a lot of smoke and steam there. Whew. Wow. All right, we're gonna let this settle for a minute. Turn the camera back on and we'll show you if we got some good castings, all right? Okay guys, here's the castings. They're not the prettiest looking things. There's several issues. You can see there's some, these are really hot still. You can see they're a little fuzzy. That's because the mold wasn't compacted all that too great. I don't know if you can see the riser where I was saying how you can see the line where the, you know, we did that kind of cold pour, but you know, it was okay. Because we were just filling up the risers. But for the most part, you know, for the sand being cold, and I really didn't expect these things to turn out whatsoever. I really didn't. But I can salvage what's here. Like I said, I'm going to machine these things, and every surface is going to get machined. You know, so all that fuzziness there, you know, we'll sand that off first. We'll take a grinder, grind it off. Numerous different ways. Like I said, there's a 6-inch belt sander there. Eventually I'm going to have that so I can, you know, deburr all the castings and that. Go grab a, you know, 4-inch angle grinder, use that, pneumatic hand grinder, you know, whatever it takes, you know. But I got the, at home I got the metal bandsaw, so I'll cut this gating off, alright, and then I'll cut as much of the flash, there's a little flashing. That's why somehow the mold wasn't set really good. I don't know what happened there. You know, but like I said, these are salvageable, that they're good enough for what we need. Probably if I sent these to, you know, trying to get something professional, this isn't for hobby stuff. If, you know, if I had to send these to a customer, I probably still could do that, you know, cutting all the flashing off and grinding them. I mean, I'd make them look okay enough where, you know, if they were not being machined, you know, they're good enough. But that's one of the things is, you know, we had a few things that went wrong today. One of the things I was saying in second video, third video, or something like that. You know, don't get discouraged with this stuff. I mean, I've been doing the Foundry stuff for a couple of years, but you know, you're gonna make mistakes. Things are gonna, you know, go wrong, and that. Just keep on going. Okay, like I said, I'm surprised these castings even came out. I was expecting a bunch of shrinkage, and I'd have to re-pour them, you know, things like that. But we're good to go with this gating, it looks like. So Friday I'll come down here and make another mold. If I can, if I remember, I'll bring the camera down. I got a couple other things I got to do also, so come down here and make a couple other things. But I'll try to get you guys down here as much as we can, okay? And you know, keep on making some casts and show you as much as I can down here, okay, guys? We'll see you next Chalk Talk.